Hey guys, welcome back. This is Blue Forest. So today we are going to rank up this guy. Mr. Megatron has returned to the game, as I'm sure many of you are aware. You will get him for completing Act 2, and the last chapter of it has just been released. So all you got to do is go through it once, just complete the easy lanes, and then you will have a 4-star OGM in your hands. And a lot of us have been waiting for this guy for quite a while. Megatron is an outstanding bot. He was always one of my favorites. He was also my first rank 6 in the old game, so I'm really excited to be able to play with him again. And so we're going to go ahead and rank him up. I did go through the entire last chapter of Act 2, so I got most of the sparks that I needed and only had to buy a few. So we're going to take him all the way up to rank 5 right now. And so, you know, I'm just really excited to be able to play with him again. And obviously, it's just really welcome news that, you know, more bots are coming, right? So we do have OGM now. We know that Beast Wars characters are coming back in Act 3, so that's not too far away. And then we'll, of course, be getting 5-star bots in Act 4. You know, whether that's the beginning of Act 4 or the end of Act 4, we don't know, so probably still a few months away, but, you know, that's going to be exciting as well. And then later on, we'll get some of the other prized Decepticons, like Galva and Cyclo, Tronus, of course, Necro. I'm actually glad in a way, though, that Tronus is actually not in the game right now, because if you had watched my videos, you would know that I was always against overusing him. He was just such an easy bot to just use for everything, and he made everything in the game super easy, you know, so I always encourage people to only use him for the most difficult content. And so it's kind of nice just not having him as an option for now. And so anyway, this is actually going pretty quick. I have a ton of ore and gold, so that's good news. But yeah, OGM, I mean, if you haven't played with him or if it's been a long time, he is definitely one of the best bots in the game for long fights, in particular because of his buff steals, you know, because he can steal all different kinds of buffs that can seriously ramp up his damage. You know, he was always a fantastic bot for the old LOC missions. And so if we do get anything like that again, any kind of long LOC style missions in the future, he'll undoubtedly be really good for that. He'll be very good for AMs, especially at higher levels. There are a lot of buffs on the new map that would be useful for OGM. And of course, he also has really good armor break. His cannon's helpful. He shocks a lot with the special 3. I mean, he can do a lot, you know. So if you are looking for a tactician to rank up, or just any bot to rank up, Megatron will be a very worthwhile investment for you. And he's a really good alternative to OGP as well. I mean, OGP is amazing. The thing is, though, everyone's using him. You know, everyone's using the Maximus synergy, which is a very good synergy, of course. You know, the stat boost, the attack boost, and the health boost you get if you're using a Maximus team is very good, but it's obviously a very overused synergy now. I mean, OGP has basically become the new Tronus. And so, you know, even though it's really useful for things like AMs, the Maximus synergy can kind of make everything kind of boring as well, because everything becomes super easy. And so, anyway, OGM is a really wonderful bot, and I highly recommend him. And so we're going to go ahead and jump in, do a little bit of gameplay, you know, just to show you a little bit of how he works in just a minute here. But that's where we are, guys. We have maxed out OGM. And so I only have him, I believe, at Sig 5 or so, but that's fine. The great thing about Megatron is that he does not need to be high Sig in order for you to be able to steal buffs consistently. You know, once you get him up to about Sig 30 or so, he's going to be stealing buffs very often, so he's not a bot you need to get up to a high Sig level. And, you know, he's just a really, really strong bot with a really great kit. He does also have excellent synergies. Obviously, some of his good synergies are not available yet, like Hand of Chaos, because we don't have those bots. But even without a few of his best synergies being unavailable, he's going to be super useful to just about anyone, and he's also very fun to play, and he does require a little bit of skill, a little bit of timing. You know, he's a little bit more complicated than OGP, which I like, and so he's a great bot to invest in. And so we're going to go ahead and jump in and do some gameplay, and so you feel free to check that out. For the time being, I hope all of you are well. I will leave it there for now. Let me know if you have any questions, as always, and we'll be in touch again soon. All right, guys, so we are going to do a lane in the most recent mission, and this is a repair timed lane, so this is a good buff to be able to steal. We take damage, he can heal up some. Now, of course, these are not very long fights, so they're not going to get a huge amount of benefit from the buff steals, and he's low sig, so he's not going to steal all the time, but it just gives you a nice example of what OGM is like, what his sig is like, and shows you the potential for longer, more difficult fights, which is where Megatron really shines. And so this is my first time using him since January or December, you know, before the old game shut down. So this is pretty fun to do. All right, so we're going to take some bleed damage here. I did just fuse a debuff, right? So you want to do that when his cannon is fully charged. And so hopefully we will steal a buff of his. That repair buff would be nice. And there we go. We just got it. See? So, you know, even at Sig 5 or 10, whatever mine is, you know, he's going to be able to steal buffs sometimes. Okay, so let's just see if we can finish off Mr. Dirge here. And as you probably know, he gets 3 fully charged cannon shots every 6 seconds or something like that. Okay, so Dirge is down. And OGM, like a couple of other bots, has a great benefit with his special 3, because after you use that, you get the fully charged cannon for the rest of the fight. Also super useful in long fights, because those, not only can you fuse debuffs, but the cannon shoots much faster and it does more damage, so that can be really helpful in tough fights. And so I'm considering maybe trying out OGM and AMs soon. You know, he is great. He would be useful for the new map. You know, I have been using OGP like a lot of people, but I always preferred OGM. So maybe I'll give him a try, you know, in AMs over the next couple of days and just see how he does. So as you can see, his armor break is great too, you know, really strong. And so, all right, let's see if we can heal up a little bit more with RC. Let's see if we can steal that. Okay. So like I said, I mean, you don't need to get his sig super high, right? Repairing a little bit. Okay, that's good. Okay. But if you get a sig to like 30 or 40, you're fine. Like, you do not need to take him to sig 100 or anywhere near that if you're going to use him. And this team I'm using right now, these are basically all of his best synergies available at the moment, right? He's getting attack from pretty much everybody except Shocky, and Shocky allows him to apply a power rate debuff with his mediums. And so, you know, once we get Cyclo and Galva, we'll have Hand of Chaos, which is one of the best synergies in the game, and the Fallen synergy with Tronus is really, really good. But there are a bunch of bots that will synergize with OGM right now. You know, he's got a lot of attack synergies with, you know, Autobots. And he has good synergy with Soundwave, and of course Starscream and Shocky. So, all right, Mr. Prowl, what are you doing? Okay. Oops, I did not backstep that appropriately and had to block his special 2. Okay. All right, let's see if we can maybe heal up a little bit here. That'd be nice. But I'm excited to try OGM and AMs just because there's a lot of, I mean, if you've been doing AMs, you see there's very powerful mods on the new map, and there's 2 mods per lane, you know. I think they did that to make it more difficult because, you know, with a shorter map, if they followed the exact same format as before, it would probably be too easy. So, you know, we've got the 4 lanes and 2 rooms with 2 mods per lane, and that makes things tricky. So there's a lot of really good buffs that OGM will be able to steal. He'll be great, by the way, for the armor lane in room 3, which is super annoying if you don't have a an armor breaker, and he'd actually be better, just or at least a little bit more appropriate than OGP for that lane, even though that's what, you know, that's who everyone is using, just because OGM, you know, he doesn't bleed, he only shocks in a special 3. So if you were to use OGM against Primal and Grim, then Primal wouldn't be able to heal on those bleeds, and Grim wouldn't get the you know, wouldn't get the melee buff with things like bleeds that, you know, OGP does. Because that lane is super annoying, you know, because you have those 2 tanky bots, and then you have, they're also on that repair mod. And then, you know, God help you if you have to fight Scorp with the armor link, that fight takes forever. So anyway, OGM would be fantastic for that lane, and he'd be really good to use against, you know, the melee damage lanes, like the Brawler lane in room 1. A couple other lanes as well. You know, there'd be a lot of very useful buffs for him to steal, and that could really ramp up his damage. So I think I am going to try him out in AMs, just replace OGP with OGM. Oops. All right, I better pay attention here. We want to get through the lane. Okay. I don't know why they've had this, you know, Scout Shark and the Brawler Shark on practically every lane, you know. I mean, neither of them are hard, but the Scout Shark has always been annoying to fight because he has that super annoying evade buff he gets when you knock him down, kind of like Barricade used to have. So, anyway. Okay. By the way, I did see a couple of new mods in this most recent chapter. Like, there was one called Finesse or something, where you don't get power, and then you, I think you only gain power when you evade or dodge attack, something like that. And then there was that Electrophobia one that I think we had maybe gotten once, where the bots are on a resistance buff, but you have to remove it with shock. So I am happy they've been adding some new mods, or at least mods that were very rarely used in the past. Alright, so it looks like Starscream is our last fight here. Better pay attention so we can finish him off. Okay. Yeah, these fights aren't really long enough for me to really use other specials, but his special 3 is amazing. He doesn't just get that buff from the special 3 for his cannon. He does this unbelievable amount of shock damage. I think it's like shock for 500% attack or something, so that can be useful in tough fights. And his special 2 is pretty good too. You know, he applies a attack debuff on the opponent, you know, and that can hit pretty hard. So, alright, so Starscream is down. And then I guess we have this Primal boss here, but he'll be easy. Maybe they are ending this mission with Primal because we're going to be getting him back along with his Beast Wars friends in a matter of weeks, right? With Act 3. So, okay. Well, let's see if we can get rid of this guy real quick, and then we'll be done. Whoops. Okay. But I am excited for the Beast Wars bots. I don't know if I'll rank up another team, but I am excited to be able to play with them again. And so anyway, that is at least a brief sample of OGM. Like I said, he's fantastic. He's great for long fights, in particular difficult fights. He'll be really good for the new AM map. His armor break is fantastic. He's got good synergies with both Autobots and Decepticons, and he'll have even better synergies once more Decepticons are playable. So I highly recommend him to you if you're looking for somebody to rank up. And so I hope all of you are well, guys, and we'll be in touch again soon. Take care.